On the final day, I want all the Twitch streamers to get together that we know, and we make one giant rectal duck somewhere.
I would like to formally apologize to Osu. Okay, we will cease fire. It was a misfire, misunderstanding.
On ne négocie pas. Si vous négociez, c'est que vous êtes en position de faiblesse.
Dijital bir tuvalet, ilmek ilmek, daha doğrusu piksel.
I have no stake in this. I have no idea what happened. That is, I guess, where you guys have collected yourselves.
Millions of people took part in the great social experiment known as r/place.
The turn of the 21st century saw the mass integration of fans within a modern-day pop culture. As society entered the information age, entertainment became increasingly accessible and therefore popular. With this newfound popularity, fan culture began to thrive. Be it for comics, films, musicians, or any other forms of entertainment, fandoms began forming everywhere. Be it the millions flocking to see the new Star Wars, or the then up-and-coming Queen selling nearly 11 million copies of Night at the Opera, it became abundantly clear that individuals were evolving from simply engaging with these pieces of media, but to forming close connections with itself and other fans.
Are you sure this is a sci-fi convention? It's full of nerds!
Unfortunately, this dedication of the text was not always seen as positive. Jenkins outlines the 1970s Star Trek fandom, and how the early adopters of fan culture were often mocked by society, with a number of individuals suggesting that these people had an unhealthy obsession with the media. A dated idea, as Jenkins suggests, but representative of the times. It was as these fandoms began their early development that so did online communication technologies. AOL came and went, MySpace was on top of the world before crashing and burning, and the globe attempted to navigate the era of information technology. Some of the most early adopters of internet technology came in the form of fandoms, using these platforms to connect, discuss, and engage across media texts. The late 90s and early 2000s saw independently hosted forums hit the height of their popularity, being used by fans to engage with their culture in a way never seen before, with fan discussion and fan-based content seeing a newfound prevalence online. As time progressed, these platforms evolved, and so did fan content. The introduction of sites like Imgur allowed fan art content to be widely spread. Similarly, the development of sites such as Reddit and Tumblr promoted textual discussion. The birth of YouTube and internet video furthered this, paving the way for guide videos, let's play montages, skits and more. Even more recently, the introduction of VoIP platforms such as Zoom, Skype and Discord have allowed for real-time voice discussion and interaction. The evolution of interactive online platforms has consistently enabled fans to begin to interact and engage with their culture increasingly richly, and has resulted in many fans becoming greatly committed to their respective communities. And that brings us to 2022, where fandoms continue to grow and thrive more than ever before. What you're seeing in front of you now is r/place, one of the latest interactive fan-centered technologies, and, well, more importantly, the user-created logo of the early 70s show Star Trek. Oh, and Queen's Freddie Mercury. I did tell you the fans were dedicated, but rewind a second. What's r/place and why do these pixels mean anything? Well, young Padawan or young Brian May, allow me. r/place was a social experiment hosted by the internet forum giant Reddit as their annual April Fool's event. Reddit, established in 2005, has been one of the leading online forum platforms for the last decade and is home to more than thousands of user-created fandoms. These communities are hosted as subreddits, essentially boards of different topics where individuals post, discuss and collaborate with other subreddit members. In fact, Reddit is home to nearly 2.8 million of these online communities and saw upwards of over 48 million monthly users over July 2021. But enough about Reddit. What's this r/place thing about? Well, r/place was an event that took place over April Fools of 2017 and saw a revival earlier this year with a couple of small adjustments. The event takes place on a blank canvas, of which Reddit users are invited to place coloured pixels on. The catch? Each Redditor can only place a single pixel every 5 minutes. This 5-minute buffer meant that individuals would have to collaborate, often in the related subreddits, to create anything substantial. Initially, r/place started off as a bit of a free-for-all, just a couple of random clusters of pixels. But Reddit users had quickly realised the potential held if they could work together, and as such, r/place was born. Soon enough, fandoms and online collectives from across the internet had banded together in an attempt to create and defend their artworks. Be these logos, flags, artworks, promotions, or even political commentary, individuals soon became very dedicated to the development of these pieces. Furthering this, the canvas was a measly 1000 by 1000 pixels. This side limitation, as communities would soon discover, meant that they needed to ensure the size of their art was attainable. Not only would these fandoms need enough dedicated members to create the piece, however, they'd also need enough members to defend against the onslaught of other online communities attempting to create artwork. The best way to understand this is by watching the r/place time-lapse, in which you can see the lifespan of a number of these artworks as different communities begin to fight over space. I could spend years going into the meaning of these different pieces and the semiotics behind them. In fact, there's an entire site based on documenting the meaning behind each of these artworks on the board and the communities that established them. But obviously I don't have time for that. What matters is that each of these artworks had thousands of organised hierarchical communities behind them. Mark Duffett suggests online communities arrange themselves into large hierarchical structures, resulting in many users becoming extremely fond and connected to one another. And r/place emphasises this. There's an intrinsic sense of community behind each of these artworks, and an organised structure behind the fans responsible. Be it the nearly indestructible Osu ball, the war between the French and US Twitch streamers, or even the upkeep and maintenance of the Tarks bar, r/place exemplifies the collaborative nature of modern day fandom, and the residual sense of belonging that platforms like Reddit foster. Once the dust had settled and the final canvas permanently closed, it was reported that r/place tallied more than 943 million screen views, with the site seeing upwards of 1 billion minutes being spent on the canvas daily. Yeah. All in all, the site totaled 10.4 million daily active users, myself being one of those. As did many others, over the 4 days I had a somewhat unhealthy obsession with r/place. I'd find myself constantly checking the canvas or browsing Twitch, Discord and Reddit to see which projects were currently in motion. Partially, I think this commit was driven by the nostalgia I have for the 2017 r/place. However, I believe the main reason I enjoyed r/place was that it let me represent the communities I was a part of. Whether it was through watching and assisting Ludwig in the Avatar The Last Airbender memorial, or defending the Overwatch logo from the ever-growing League of Legends icon, r/place allowed me to engage in my interest in a way that felt important. Whether it was through the construction of the Australian VB monument, the tribute to the late Twitch streamer Rekful, or the Ziz monument, I, and many others, found joy in constantly committing to these fandoms and the projects they are a part of. Aside from this, what I hope is being made obvious is that r/place wasn't just a drawing pad. r/place wasn't MS Paint, but rather a way of demonstrating the collective dedication fandoms have within a modern day society. r/place exemplified New Age fan culture. Its hierarchical, family-esque and deep-seated social structure, and the intrinsic connection individuals have towards fandoms, things they're passionate about. Not only this, but r/place pairs these deep-seated connections with the growth of digital interactive technology. Similarly to how fans create fandom, Wikipedia or tutorial videos, r/place provides another means through which fans can engage with their fandom and demonstrates the continual adoption of digital media communication platforms. As suggested by Hussinger, the goal of fandoms is to make new media social, and this is exactly what r/place represents. So, what comes after? Well, as discussed by Hussinger, as digital communication platforms evolve, online fans and online communities will be at the forefront of these new technologies. With platforms such as Facebook slowly declining, new and more expansive platforms will take older ones' places. Though I can't definitively predict where these platforms will go next, and if I could, I'd probably be retired by now, I can make some educated guesses. Firstly, the introduction of VR and the metaverse. With the huge growth we've seen through VoIP technologies in the recent years, these services are continuing to feel more and more personalised. It's not far-fetched to believe that this trend will continue, with platforms moving away from text-based conversations, but rather in-person-esque conversation. Heck, even VR chat has been popularised by fans, with different communities hosting a variety of rooms dedicated to fan discussion and interaction. There's truly no doubt that fandoms will continue to thrive in the future, and as we see the evolution of both new technologies and new types of media, these communities will connect, interact and engage in ways never thought possible. And for r/place, what exemplifies this? r/place demonstrates the power, dedication and commitment of new age fandoms and their place within society. No doubt will we continue to see iterations of r/place in the future, but until then, r/place and its millions of participants shows that the future for fandoms is bright, exciting, multicoloured and hell, maybe even a little pixelated. This has been Zach Morehouse, thanks for watching.